So, Freddie, he's not ruling out the possibility that A.J. Brown could be in New England. Does it feel inevitable to you at this point that that's where we're going to see him play in 2026?
Well, it's inevitable to me that he's not going to be a Philadelphia Eagle after June 1st because of the economics. If they try to trade him before June 1st, that's over $40 million in dead cap money. If they wait until June 1st after that this year, then the dead cap money can be spread out under $20 million over 2 years. So I think it's inevitable that A.J. Brown is going to be traded, but it's going to be more of a summer house thing and not a spring cleaning thing involving the Philadelphia Eagles moving on from A.J. Brown. So anybody worth their weight that believes that A.J. Brown can help your quarterback and help their team, they're going to be in that business because the finances will dictate that's when a trade is more than likely going to happen, not the NFL draft. So, yeah, if you're the New England Patriots and you moved on from Stephon Diggs and you know you have a young quarterback on a rookie contract when it comes to Drake May and you're hoping that the offensive line is going to be better, you got Travion Henderson at running back, you got a decent crop of wide receivers, but you don't have that number one guy, in which you got exposed about that in the Super Bowl against Seattle defense where no one could separate. You got a separator when it comes to A.J. Brown. And he wants to separate from the Philadelphia Eagles, and they want to separate from him. So, yeah, a team like the Patriots or anybody else could be in the market for a number one wide receiver. That's going to make your young quarterback and your offense better and give them more of an identity. But I don't think that's going to happen, guys, until after June 1st.
Can we do something? Can we do something? Freddie already knows I'm working on my GoFundMe. Smalls, listen to me here.
I'm all ears.
I'm working on my GoFundMe here. I'm just trying to raise $43 million for the Eagles so that they could just pay out this A.J. Brown contract and trade him tomorrow so I don't have to hear about it anymore. It's a little, I know it may be out the box to donate $43 million to a billionaire, but I think we can do it if we put our heads together. That's how much I do not want to hear about this anymore. And I do want him to get in that Patriots team because I do think with all of the drama, he still had 1,000 yards last year. While he was miserable and making everybody else miserable, he can still contribute, but I can't take this for 2 more months. My GoFundMe is going to go up $43 million so you can raise some money for A.J. Brown to get out of there immediately.
So what happens, David, if he doesn't? What happens if the asking price is too high?
Don't do this.
And Sean Mannion, the new OC, comes in and was like, listen, when I took this job, A.J. Brown was an Eagle. And if you can't get enough for him, I've got some new scheme that is really going to satisfy him. He's going to get the catches he wants. The production is going to be there. We want a Super Bowl with A.J. Brown. Talent like that just doesn't grow on trees. Let's just try to make it work one final time. You're not down with that?
You know what you sound like, Smalls?
What?
You know what you sound like?
What does she sound like?
If we just have this baby, it'll fix everything. That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. You know what? We going through our issues. It seems like, this baby's going to fix everything. That works 0.0% of the time. That's exactly what this sounds like.
You know what the irony of that is? They already had the baby. It was the Super Bowl, and that didn't work either.
Right.
Smalls, the best part about this is that my grandson Hamilton is watching us this morning down in North Carolina, my daughter Brianna. The fact that my grandson is seeing David Dennis Jr. meltdown on TV just made this whole morning for me what you were able to do to get him to do that in front of my grandson Hamilton. That made it worth it for me.
Oh, good morning, Hamilton. Thanks for hanging out with
Hamilton.
us.
Absolutely.
Is Hamilton going to school today, Freddie?
No, he is not feeling.
Well, the Bears are looking for an upgrade to their stadium.
Yep.
And a top negotiator in the Illinois House says they are now closer to a stadium deal with the Chicago Bears.
They're playing football. How close is close?
Yeah.
We're talking about inches here. So how much
we have chains involved?
Right, we need it for this process. How much time is really left for the two sides to get a deal done? NBC5's Rose Schmidt is here with where things stand. Rose?
Allison, Alex, lawmakers won't be returning to Springfield until next week, so we won't see any movement on the legislation to keep the Bears in Illinois until then. But the top negotiator in the House tells me lawmakers are ironing out an amended bill right now. For months, the Chicago Bears have wanted a mega projects bill to move to Arlington Heights. It would offer property tax breaks to large-scale projects like a stadium. But there are concerns.
There's been questions about whether or not this can be used for places such as data centers and battery farms, right? And so I think all of those things are very cogent, very logical questions for people to ask. We're trying to find solutions to all of them.
Representative Cam Buckner, the top negotiator in the Illinois House, says Democrats hope to have an amended bill soon. It will have to go back to committee before the full House can approve it.
They should have gotten this done in February. They did not. We're now ending March, and it's still not done. They're really on borrowed time right now.
Stadium consultant Mark Gannis is baffled as to why things are still at a standstill.
This is such a favorable deal for the state and for Cook County that the only thing that could be holding it up are political considerations.
In the meantime, this was Hammond Mayor Thomas McDermott last week.
I'm praying for dysfunction because if they fall apart, we win, guys. And the Bears are coming to Hammond, Indiana, which is crazy.
He acknowledged the biggest challenge for Hammond is the Bears are giving Illinois a chance to keep the team. Buckner says the Bears have not given him a specific deadline.
There is no dysfunction here. We're working in a lockstep way and with all deliberate speed to make this happen, to make sure that we can keep an iconic Illinois franchise here in the state of Illinois.
Another big sticking point to getting this deal done.
Bears fans, let me ask you one question that should light this whole fan base up right now. What if the real story is not whether A.J. Brown is available today, but whether Ryan Poles is ready for the moment if he becomes available tomorrow? Haha, because that is the difference between a team that hopes and a team that hunts. And after that ESPN clip, there is no way you can tell me this thing is dead. No chance. The whole conversation keeps coming back to the same point: money, timing, and whether Philadelphia eventually decides that the cleanest move is to deal the guy later instead of earlier. Yeah, and if that moment ever arrives, Chicago better not be sleeping. Because look at where the Bears are right now. This is not some rebuilding team with no direction. This is a franchise trying to maximize Caleb Williams, trying to raise the ceiling of the offense, trying to build something that can actually punch with the best teams in the conference. And while the Bears have young receiver talent, and I like the upside of Rome Odunze and Luther Burden III, let's be real, A.J. Brown is not upside. A.J. Brown is proven damage. He just went over 1,000 yards again last season, and the Eagles' own site reminds you this guy has done that in 5 of his first 6 years. That is superstar consistency, man. So what could Chicago actually do? First, the Bears would need to treat this like a real franchise-level move, because that is what it would be. You are not grabbing Brown with loose change. That means future premium draft capital has to be in the conversation. Second, Chicago would have to create money. The Bears are tight against the cap, so nobody should pretend this is easy. It would take real work, restructures, maybe extensions, maybe moving other money around. Third, if the Eagles prefer flexibility, Chicago could try to protect its best young pieces and keep the offer centered on futures instead of stripping away current contributors. And fourth, if the market gets weird and Philly waits, the Bears could stay patient and strike later. Because sometimes the best trades are the ones that do not happen when the rumor first explodes. Haha, and that is why I actually love this conversation, even before anything is real, because it tells you something about the Bears. Chicago should be thinking this big now. Chicago should be asking these questions now. Chicago should be looking at the Caleb window and saying, what is the smartest aggressive move we can make? Not reckless, not desperate, aggressive. Smart aggressive. And A.J. Brown fits that kind of conversation perfectly because he is still productive, still physical, still one of the nastiest receivers in football after the catch, and still the kind of weapon who makes life easier for everybody else in the offense. Haha, imagine that for 1 second. Brown drawing the top corner, Odunze getting better matchups, Burden flying around in space, Caleb standing taller in the pocket because he knows his WR1 can go win it. Oh man, that is the kind of offense that changes expectations in a hurry. So no, I'm not here to lie to you and say it's done. It's not. Brown is still in Philly, and that matters. But if the door opens later, the Bears should not be spectators. They should be in the fight. Now tell me in the comments, what is the most you would give up for A.J. Brown if Chicago got a real shot? Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and bear down, because this is exactly the kind of move that could take the Bears from exciting to downright dangerous.